Okay, so I'm a bit of a slow learner. There's probably no surprise to some of you, let alone me. I've just come across Osho's wonderful quote. He says, "Creativity is the greatest rebellion in existence." Oh, I really like that. I've always fancied a bit of rebellion, or at least the prospect of it, that feeling that you're doing something out of the norm, out of the ordinary, pushing the boundaries, shaking the tree. I like that a lot. Osho, for those of you who don't know, is an Indian spiritual guru, and this quote comes from his best-selling book, Creativity: Unleashing the Forces Within. Google tells me that Osho highlights the fact that creativity is much more than a simple act. It's a profound form of rebellion against the conventional boundaries and the restrictive nature of our daily existence. I like that too. I like that a lot. So, in this changing world impacted with the likes of AI, I wonder where in education the greatest rebellion might be currently found. Unsurprisingly, I found it where it's always been, in our early childhood centres and kindergartens. In these places, you walk through the door and see an unbounded creativity everywhere and anywhere. I think you'd struggle to find anywhere on the planet where such unabashed creativity is produced in such an unrestrictive and supportive manner. What's more, these creative souls, yep, it's the 2 to 5 year olds I'm talking about, go about their acts of daily rebellion in a constant state of, I don't care. Yeah, sure, they're learning to care as they look for the acknowledgement-like signs from their teachers, caregivers and parents. But on the whole, I can't imagine any 3-year-old in the world who starts their finger-painting masterpiece with the thoughts, how will this be accepted? And is it acceptable? Around these 3-year-olds is a lovely, caring and supportive bubble wrap-like layer of safety. It's provided by the state or the private institution, and it comes in the form of a teacher. This layer of safety allows for our children to be almost as rebellious as they want as they go about making sense of their new world. As I said, it's hard to imagine a place on earth that is so free in regards to this creativity. As children get older and they move through our education systems, the significance of the safety bubble wrap and its use, becomes diluted. This dilution or constraint is done on many different layers, by peer pressure, by family expectations, by societal norms, and by the institutions themselves, who are also under the same constraints. Creativity is inherently fueled by risk-taking. Our 3-year-olds are encouraged to take risks. In fact, they often don't even comprehend that a risk is even there. This is called play, and they learn about risks by doing stuff in their play. By the time our kids find themselves further up the school system, this risk-taking, play aspect of creativity is often non-existent. And to compound things more, our teachers are often so risk-averse themselves that the creativity rebellion is well and truly about to be extinguished. Enter AI, stage left. First glance, it appears that maybe, just maybe, the rebellion is about to be reignited. But on closer inspection, I wonder if AI just gives us the opportunity to take risk-taking out of the creative equation altogether. I've always thought that the risk-taking part of being creative is the part that makes us truly human. It's the part that adds the spice to the process. It's like the wrapping on a present at Christmas time. Until the wrapping's taken away, there's always the uncertainty left about what's being gifted. It's an anticipation that is intoxicating. Being creative has never been totally risk-free. Unless, of course, we're all living in a kindergarten world. So why would we allow AI to take this away from us? Surely, if we're going to embrace AI into the creative realm, and to be honest, it looks like we have no choice, then the time is now to be actively encouraging our teachers to take real-life risks in their classrooms. This means looking at what being creative really looks like. It means celebrating this often, as in getting really excited about human creativity. And it means reigniting the flame and letting the rebellion take hold. Hi everyone, it's my pleasure to bring you this leadership module. Today we're talking about creativity, and in particular, the creativity rebellion, and why it's important as a leader to take the time to understand the importance of stoking the fires of creativity in your workplaces. So let's get into it. Human beings certainly aren't the only creatures on Earth that are creative. But we seem to be the only ones who use creativity as something to enhance our emotional connection with the world around us. My dog Daisy will be creative in many ways, but ultimately she uses her creativity as a tool to an end. It's not about emotions to her. Daisy doesn't care if something looks nice. All she really cares about is if it tastes nice. The way that we're creative is therefore unique, on planet Earth anyway. Creativity comes from the way that the human brain processes information, combining memories, emotions, learned knowledge, and abstract thinking to generate something new. Unlike rigid logic, creativity thrives on connections, unpredictability, and the ability to think beyond immediate patterns. It's driven by cognitive flexibility, problem-solving skills, and our capacity for imagination, letting us reshape reality in art, science, and innovation. No AI, no formula, or no machine can truly replicate the depth of human creativity because it's intertwined with our lived experience, our intuition, and the quirks of our individual thought. That's what makes it so powerful and unpredictable. It has the power to link us to each other. Emotional connections are built when creativity taps into these shared experiences, our deepest of feelings and our raw authenticity. Whether through art, music, storytelling, or even problem solving, the creative spark allows people to express what words alone often can't. Joy, pain, longing, hope. And when someone creates something meaningful, others recognize bits of themselves in it, forging this connection that feels personal and real. This is why a song can remind you of a lost love, a painting can stop you in your tracks, and a well-told story can bring strangers together. Creativity is that bridge between minds and hearts, turning ideas into emotions that resonate and bond people in ways logic never could. And of course, creativity comes in a multitude of different forms and guises. Human creativity is everywhere. It's woven into the fabric of daily life and grand achievements alike. It's in the musician who transforms raw emotion into sound, the architect who bends steel and glass into art, and the scientist who reshapes reality with groundbreaking discoveries. It's in the storyteller spinning those words into magic, and the chef elevating humble ingredients into culinary masterpieces, and that coder sculpting those digital landscapes from lines of code. Who even thought that was a thing? Even in everyday problem solving, finding new ways to fix a broken chair, negotiating that tricky conversation, or turning a dull afternoon into an adventure, creativity shines through. It's not just about art, it's about how we adapt, how we innovate, and how we make sense of the world, crafting this beauty, these solutions, and make these connections that didn't exist before. And it's because of this that we really need to start talking about making sure that human forms of creativity remain inherently human. Creativity is like inspiration in action. It's that moment when an idea jumps from imagination into reality. Inspiration is that spark, that electric charge that makes you see the possibilities, feel excitement, or suddenly understand something in a new way. We have to be human about this. But creativity is what happens when that spark fuels action, when the artist picks up a brush and the writer puts pen to paper, the inventor tests out an idea, or someone simply finds a clever way to solve a problem. It's the movement between thought and creation where raw inspiration transforms into something tangible, meaningful, and entirely new. And again, we've got to be the human in this. We can't let this all be AI inspired. Without creativity, inspiration would just be fleeting thoughts. But with it, ideas come alive. So how do we take back the reins of creativity in our schools and workplaces? How do we lead our places in such a way that creativity is promoted ahead of bottom lines such as financials and bureaucracy? We do it by initially setting the tone. We lead by example. Leaders who foster curiosity, encourage risk-taking, and create a safe space for unconventional ideas set the stage for teams to push the boundaries, to innovate, and to turn bold thinking into reality. These safe environments focus on concepts such as risk without fear, failure and growth, and psychological safety. In many ways, workplaces can gain plenty by understanding and thinking how early childhood centres and kindergartens encourage play and risk-taking as if it's the most natural element in the world, supported by a safety net that ensures that anyone who falls off the edge never falls too far. Celebrating creativity in your team is also a fantastic way to promote the diversity of your team. Everyone comes to the table with a potpourri of awesome experiences, skills, and ideas. Let this diversity breathe. Be proud of the different creative ideas and solutions that are on tap for everyone to have access to. Of course, I don't really need to tell you about the positives of having a collaborative community at your place. Embracing creativity encourages and embraces collaboration. Creativity obviously fuels this collaboration by sparking fresh ideas, breaking down those barriers, and inspiring people to build, solve, and innovate together in ways that wouldn't happen alone. And from this flows autonomy and flexibility. Creativity thrives in workplaces where autonomy and flexibility are encouraged because it empowers people to think independently, experiment, and adapt to challenges without, those rigid constraints. When the people on your team feel trusted to explore solutions in their way, they take ownership of their ideas, they solve problems more effectively, and they push boundaries without fear of failure. A flexible environment, one that embraces different perspectives, new approaches, and fluid collaboration, allows creativity to flourish, driving innovation and keeping teams agile. Who wouldn't want that? In the end, creativity isn't just about coming up with great ideas, it's about creating an environment where people feel free to act on them. And of course, this also all leads into a growth mindset, especially when you've spent time to build a safe environment for everyone to feel encouraged to take those risks and to give all those great things a go. Creativity fuels a growth mindset because it thrives on experimentation, learning, and the belief that challenges are opportunities rather than roadblocks. When people embrace this creativity, they stop fearing failure and they start seeing it as part of a process. Each setback becomes a stepping stone to the next stones to improvement. It pushes individuals to ask what if, explore new perspectives, and refine their ideas without being stuck in rigid thinking. In workplaces, classrooms, and personal pursuits, creativity breeds this resilience, this adaptability, and the drive to keep pushing boundaries. A growth mindset isn't just about believing you can improve, it's about actively creating new paths to get there. And if you've been successful with all of this, then you really have arrived at a place whereby you can adapt and bend black and white words on paper of that curriculum to actually meet the needs, the desires, and the hopes of the kids in your school. If you've embraced the creativity rebellion, then really it doesn't matter what's written on those curriculum documents. You'll have the skill to essentially turn water into wine. Okay, quite possibly I've over-exaggerated somewhat how easy it is to be creative. Truth is, often it isn't easy at all. You've got to keep at it, and often creativity has this weird ability to fail to turn up just when you're dog-tired on some wintry, dark Thursday afternoon and you can't be stuffed doing anything at all. Creativity isn't likely to lurk there alongside you. The key, though, is to make a start, and sometimes it's difficult to even know where to start. Don't worry, start anywhere. Just start. And once you get going, creativity will come and find you.